All right. Hello, everyone. Yes, we are here to talk about finally the finale of a show called The Circle. It just aired, right? This just aired, right? It just aired yesterday. Yeah. No, in all seriousness, we know this review is a bit delayed. We've had some complications, whether it was finding guests, whether it was lack of technology not working in our favor.
Speaking of, my laptop was like getting fixed for like a week because of my screen, so that's also why.
That's also why we're late here. But thankfully, we're here now. We're here to finally talk about The Circle finale. But we're not alone for this. We do have two guests with us right now. First of all, she's got some kittens in her house, and she's got a big bruise on her hand that's really hurting. But she's here. Hopefully this is going to help, alleviate some of that pain. Here she is, Jenn Rudolph.
Hey, I'm back again.
Yes. And here with us again, he hasn't been on for this podcast, but he's been on my channel before. But he has watched The Circle this season, and he was eating dinner for like 40 fucking minutes, but he's finally here. Henry Ewing.
Yo, where the fuck am I? What is this place?
I'm pretty sure that's your house. I could be wrong. But anyway, let's
Kevin letting me back on his channel. We love to see it.
Yes, we do. Anyway, let's dive into The Circle here. Before we get into this finale overall, both of you, just brief thoughts on this season overall, all that kind of stuff. Jenn, I know you've been on. You were on before. Talked a little bit about how you feel, but how do you feel about this season overall? How things wrapped up, everything like that.
Yeah, it was a really good season. It was fun to watch, and I felt like by the time it was ending, I was like, oh my God, it's over already. It just so fast. It was overall really good, and it was a lot of fun.
Henry.
Yeah, I agree. It was a good season. Some really interesting people, and it was really fun to watch. And
so we'll get into the finale right now. Now, unlike our other Circle videos, this is definitely going to be on the shorter side because there's only one episode to really talk about here. But there's still a good amount of stuff that went down that we are going to discuss. So we're just going to jump right into it. So we start off, Michelle wakes up all the finalists. She congratulates them for making it all the way to the finale and how close they are to winning that 100K. And she tells them that later today they will rate for the last time and that they should really think about their choices. And everyone seems very unsure who they're going to rate, except for Courtney. And this is where we get into the stuff where, we started talking about this last week. I don't really like Courtney that much anymore, especially in this episode.
I'm not crazy, but I don't dislike him. I just find him really cocky now.
Yeah, he is just so overconfident that he's going to win. He seems to have no doubt in his mind whatsoever, and he knows exactly who he wants to go out. They're given this feast to partake in the morning, and they're then shown that there's an update in the news feed, and it's time to reveal who the secret influencer blocked. And we see that Deleesa is less than thrilled to hear about this, especially since she felt she needed Mitchell in the game to win, which, we'll get into that in a little bit. But Lisa and Jack are convinced that he was a catfish, and Mitchell leaves a message saying that he wanted to be himself and true to his core. And again, it sounds fake to me. I don't know. Ever since all this stuff came out about him, we talked about this in the last video, but everything that Mitchell says just sounds so fucking scripted, where he's like, I wanted to be myself. I wanted to prove that I could be myself, and I wanted to be true to my core. And he talks about how the Joker is still in the game and just telling them the things that they want to hear pretty much. He wishes them all luck. It was an all right goodbye message, but we see that Chloe is very happy to see that he's real. And we've talked about this all season, but I love the joy that Chloe gets when literally anything happens. It's just infectious to watch. Even if you're not as excited, you just can't help but feel excited whenever Chloe is saying something. It's great to watch. But We basically see that Courtney also believed that he was a catfish and is laughing about him being blocked. And Deleesa feels that certain people have been playing really shady from the beginning, and she doesn't feel that it's necessary. And I think this is very important, especially for this finale, because we see that kind of bites some people in the ass a bit, which that's something that not the call. And then the phone rang. I guess we have a guest who wants to talk about the circle.
Circle message.
Circle message. Yeah, I guess we can call people now. Can you imagine if you could call people and your voice was disguised? Oh, that'd be so cracked.
That'd be so funny.
Yeah.
The 5 finalists talk in a public chat, and Lee decides to hide the fact that he was the super influencer. Chloe thinks it's weird they're not at all mentioning Mitchell leaving, which leads her to assume it's one of Courtney or River.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor finally brings up the fact that Mitchell is gone and thanks the super influencer for getting to the finale. River says he's very excited to meet all of them in person, and Courtney is also just excited that they've all made it.
Which again is it's like he's trying way too hard to just be nice to everyone here, and it's very fake.
Mm-hmm.
That was me because it said I didn't get anything on my phone, but it says no caller ID.
Oh, that's probably Henry.
My God. That's so funny. The only time I get no caller ID is if Emily calls me sometimes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Anyway, they are then told it's time to make the final rankings of the game, which is based around who they want to win. While most of the players rank solely based on who they think should win, it can't be them. So it's clear Courtney is far more strategic. So he placed for him in order for him to win, and Deleesa seems a bit disappointed with his gameplay overall.
Yeah, this was really interesting to me because we get to the rankings here, and let's talk about the rankings. So Chloe had Trevor at 1, no surprise, and then she had River at 3, again, not a surprise there at all. Deleesa had Chloe at number 1, so you can see for the majority of these people, Lee having Courtney at number 1, these are the people that really wanted to win. Whereas again, Courtney is just so overconfident that he doesn't even think he needs to do it that way. What he decides to do instead is put fucking John at number 1 because he thinks if he puts John at number 1, this is going to help his odds somehow. What do you guys think about this?
Not a good strategy.
The way he did this, yeah.
He was thinking too much with his heart, and we know what happened in the end there.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like most people were not really focusing on the game anymore. They were focusing more on just who they wanted to win, which I feel like is kind of what you should do at this point. It's more.
And that's what I said. I think I said this on the last one. I think that's part of this show.
Yeah.
Flash game that's super flawed is the way that they determine the winner because at the end of the game, these people have been doing so well the entire time. They've been influencer this and that.
Yup.
So because they've been influencer every week, they're threats. So they're gonna get ranked lower because of it.
Exactly.
And you should just be ranking people honestly. And I mean, I guess that is part of the strategy, but they should be, maybe I think I said this last time. I think it'd be cool if they use the average of the rankings from the entire season.
Yeah, that'd be much better. I think again, Courtney here he was very overconfident, and everyone else pretty much it's if I couldn't win, I'd want this person to win. But Courtney's oh no, I'm winning this. There's no way I'm not. And we see the players are then told before that the winner's revealed. They're invited to one last circle chat, and this is where we get to the good stuff, where this time they're going to meet in person. Everyone gets dressed up. They get ready to meet each other for the first time, and we get our face-to-face meetups, which really take up the bulk of the episode.
I love this part. It's just fun.
Yeah,
it's so fun seeing their interactions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just very wholesome.
Yeah, this was definitely just a lot of fun to watch. I really like the way they did this. But Allie's going to talk about the first meetup here.
Okay. Chloe arrives on her own and then awaits for the first player who turns out to be Deleesa. When Chloe first meets Deleesa in person, she is obviously shocked, but also seems very pleased and impressed by how well she played.
Which I liked. I liked that she overall was like, she wasn't too upset about it. She congratulated her gameplay. Says a lot about Chloe as a person, that she very much respects game.
Oh, yeah. Deleesa says she was hoping she may have been a catfish, even though she knew in her heart she wasn't. Chloe talks about how the flirting escalated, and Deleesa feels bad about it because she wasn't going to go there. Mm-hmm. Chloe says that while she knew she was playing a game, there was always hope that it could have been real. And Deleesa reveals to Chloe that the real Trevor is actually her husband, and that everything about her having a daughter was in fact true. It was just as a guy, and jokingly says there's always room for a third in their marriage.
Yeah, which I mean, that's the big thing about Deleesa's game that I think is most impressive versus the other catfishes, is that she really wasn't lying, aside from the fact that she was Trevor and she decided to go along with the flirting because Chloe initiated it. So I think that's what makes her gameplay like so impressive in that way, is that she basically was telling the truth aside from who she was playing as.
Yeah. Deleesa says she should be proud of the fact she's technically the only girl who made it far, and said she has known she was real from the second they interacted, especially since she was a huge fan of her on Too Hot to Handle, and this matched her personality too well, and admits it was very hard to play as a guy, and now she's happy she can just be herself. They are then told Courtney is on his way to meet them.
Yeah, and this was just a great interaction. I feel like this is something that, you know, we've waited for all season, and it really did deliver, I think.
It is. It's great because, I mean, Kevin, I don't think you've seen the UK ones, right?
No. We talked about this extensively in the last one.
They have like similar situations with like catfishing people who have had showmances and like the meetups. It's like not as cute and like wholesome. It's like drama.
Yeah, I really didn't know how
it's entertaining. Don't get me wrong, but it's like,
oh yeah.
So it's nice to see them like be like, it's about all of it.
Yeah, and what's great is like I've seen since then, like these two are like best friends at this point, which is great. I love that they're like so close in that way, because it's like they did have a connection. It's just a different kind of connection now. Yeah. So it's really good to see that work out. But we then get the meeting with Courtney, and we see that he's shocked to find out that Deleesa was in fact Trevor, and compliments her on it. And he sits down. He says that while he did feel a bit sus towards Trevor, he knew he couldn't actually split up Chloe and Trevor, which, judging by how he's played the game, I don't know if that's really the case. I don't think that's actually what he was doing, because let's be honest. I mean, Courtney wanted Chloe all to himself. He really did. He wanted that degree of him and River. The only reason I think he kept Trevor around is because Deleesa was so fucking good at the game. That's why he kept him around. Like, it had nothing to do with Courtney not wanting to separate those two. Just any time that Courtney says something that he did in terms of his heart, I just don't believe it, because I feel like this entire game, and I noticed it especially in this episode, he has played with like almost no emotions. He's basically been like a game bot the entire time. It's really biting him in the ass here.
I'd love to see Courtney in like a mini.
Yeah. Honestly, I can see him in like an org.
Yeah, Courtney's the one that everyone's like, I just can't read Courtney, and he gets out like early because of it. So basically, Chloe jokes about how she's been falling for a woman all season, and Deleesa warns Courtney that she has strong feelings that River might also be a catfish, but we see that he's very adamant that no, this is not the case. And Chloe says that she's not tactful enough to discern that, and says that she knew from the second she talked to Courtney, she knew that he was real, and he says he felt the same about her. And Deleesa reveals at the end they had a whole plan to get him out towards the end, and he said that he figured that was the case. And they're then told that River is on the way to meet them, and we then get River's meeting here.
When Lee first arrives, Courtney seems shocked and a little disappointed to find out he was a catfish. Lee seems overjoyed that he gets to see all of them, and he hugs each of them, and Courtney says he's gagged.
Yeah, Courtney's reaction was really, really interesting here.
It was. Deleesa and River both admit they had suspicions of each other being catfishes, but Lee also admits his catfish radar is not great. Mm-hmm. He formally introduces himself, and Deleesa tells him the truth about what she did, and he tells them about his history being a writer and writing under female pen names, and that he accidentally conjured up a 24-year-old version of him.
Yeah.
He says River is a real person, but he has a different name and he's straight. Courtney says he felt so good with him, and Chloe and Lee reveal he was the super influencer last round, and Courtney reveals he was a joker, and
I did not. Why did I say that? Okay.
Chloe asked why he said things about her, and he said he was trying to write as Emily since it was anonymous, and Lee thought for sure it was Lance due to the fact that he had just arrived, and they talk about Lance, which turned out to be Lisa, who they don't realize is on her way with Jack right now to meet them, and Lee is hopeful John is real.
Yeah, this was a very interesting meeting for sure. I don't think Courtney was very happy that Lee wasn't real. I think he felt a certain vibe when it came to River. But this was interesting. I mean, the one thing I have heard, at least from the cast, like after this season, is that Lee is like the nicest guy on the cast. Everyone sees Lee as like this father of sorts, and I feel like this very much encompassed that. Like this really. Yeah, I mean, this really showcased just how wholesome of a guy that Lee really was, which is not shocking. I mean, this is the guy that would cry after every single blocking. That's just how much he got attached to these people. And I feel like that's one of the things that was a highlight about Lee's game, is that while, say, Courtney had no emotions, Lee was all about emotion. So you really do kind of see that here.
Yeah.
So we see Lisa and Jack then arrive. They all congratulate each other and are shocked that it was them and how they were eliminated and came back. And they explain how they found out it was happening. And Lee reveals to them that he was the super influencer. And Chloe's excited to know that Mitchell was real. It seems like she wants to get to know him better, which it definitely seems like they have gotten to know each other better since then. And Lee reveals that Mitchell was Ed from last season's brother, which they all seem to recognize makes a lot of sense because, Mitchell's kind of problematic, but that's a whole other discussion. Deleesa then takes the time to reveal that she was the one behind Lee's poster last week, which they all seem very excited to know. And Chloe says that all of her reigns this season have been with her hearts. And I think what Chloe says right here should kind of be how people treat the circle from this point forward, where she talks about how she didn't really care who was truly a catfish because to her, it didn't really matter. The relationship is there. They're still playing the game. And the thing is, like, in such a catfish heavy season, like, I don't really think it amounted to much. Like, it's kind of funny how, like, the entire season they've been so gung-ho about the catfishes, but the majority of this bunch is a catfish. So I think like the catfishing doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It's more just about the connections that you form. Because, like, again, just what Chloe says here, again, I think that should probably be the way people play the game from this point forward. But they all congratulate each other on making it to the finals. And they then get alert from Michelle telling them to join her at the penthouse to figure out who's going to win the season and ultimately win that 1K. Again, a lot of great stuff when it came to these face-to-face meetups. Is there anything else you guys want to say regarding these face-to-face meetups overall?
It was sweet. Like, I just felt like I've seen all the UK ones as well as both US ones, but something about this meeting just felt like super like cute, and like I felt like I was part of them.
I think it was really intimate too, obviously because of like COVID and things like that. So I think that was a part of it too.
Yeah, I love this part so much. It was just a very like pure moment.
Yeah, it was really great just getting to see all of them interact and just finally bonding as a cast, despite clearly Courtney being a little bit upset over what happened. Everyone else seemed pretty cool with each other. Oh, it's you.
We then are given a chance to meet back up with all of the block players who didn't make it to the end.
Michelle stuff here.
Right? Michelle asks Mitchell about him not wearing a shirt, which he jokes about growing up without one.
I don't know why I typed this. This is nothing. I don't know why I took notes.
I guess it's for entertainment.
Pretty much, yeah.
She then asks Bryant how it felt to be the first one blocked, and he said that if you follow your heart, you don't regret doing it. And she says she loves him being a walking fortune cookie.
Again, I don't know what he was doing in this show. Like, it reiterates the fact that Bryant had no place in this season whatsoever. Yeah, honestly, and I think
Poor guy.
Where Are They Now video, he's since changed his name to like something else.
Yeah.
E-Car.
Yeah, E-Car.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
he changed his name.
Yeah, so hoping the best for E-Car, but I don't think social strategy games are for you at this point. I think you're good as a breath instructor. I think that you seem like a really nice dude, but like social strategy games, I don't think that
we're not his thing.
At least he tried.
Yeah.
He definitely did.
She then asks Savannah what she'd do differently, and Savannah says she stands by everything she did, and Michelle asks if they misconstructed each other's energy over text, and Savannah says in the game, the way you say things may not always be the way it was intended to be perceived, and Terilisha has asked the same question and says she wouldn't change anything as she felt like her blocking was about what other players said about her, especially Savannah, and that she threw her under the bus with a lie, which Savannah still somehow believes was the truth. And she says her truth is her truth and Savannah is hers, and that it was
makes any fucking sense.
And that it was simply the way it perceived, and she shouldn't hate the player and hate the game.
Yeah, let's go back to Savannah here. So, Jenn, you were here like a bunch of weeks ago, and I talked about how I didn't really want to pick a side when it came to the Savannah and Terilisha of it all. I think I retract that statement after this conversation because handling herself here very much felt like she wanted that like 15 minutes of fame. She wanted to make sure that she was relevant. She wanted to do what she could to make herself not look like the bad guy and just whereas
it was like okay, like the game's over. Like everyone is able to like look at the bigger picture and be like, okay, like y'all both got eliminated so early. Like just move on and like be friends and like laugh about it.
And I feel like
I didn't like that. He was so like me.
I think they just need to like move on and just focus on themselves and not the game.
Exactly. And I think Terilisha, like, she wants to be friends with Savannah. She wants to move past it. But Savannah can't just admit, like, yeah, I lied to get myself further. She just is so concerned with her image in that way. And I think the thing with Savannah is, like, you know, there's certain people when they go onto reality TV, they don't change. Savannah has very much changed from this experience in a very negative way, I feel like. And it's really...
I don't even necessarily think that that's, like... I think that's like how she is, and like she's also like I think she was already an influencer on Instagram. I remember looking at her Instagram.
Well, that makes sense.
She already had like a couple 100,000 followers like before the season.
Okay.
So like she obviously like is like very into like her own image.
Yeah.
And like cares a lot about what other people think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I tried to stay neutral with this conflict, but I feel like Terilisha did a really good job of just admitting what happened, admitting that she felt like she was being thrown under the bus and that it hurt her. But Savannah just can't admit that she did in fact lie, and it made her look worse, I think.
I think so too, sadly.
I did love though during this segment, like just everyone else around them, just like Khat like sipping tea. It was great.
Oh yeah, that was so funny.
Yeah.
Khat robbed Queen.
Honestly. She needs to play again.
Mm-hmm.
She couldn't so well. So it's still you.
Michelle then asks Khat playing the way she did, and she admits she came in a bit too hot and her game went wrong trying to figure out where Courtney and River stood with Chloe, and that she should have just continued to lie low, and that is the difference between her sitting here and sitting on the couch.
Yeah, and again, I mean, this is the way that you should approach yourself with these conversations. Like, the game's over. Khat knows that she didn't do a great job with that. She was doing great prior to that whole thing that went down, but I think that, you know, after everything that happened, she was kind of fucked, and I like that she admits that. You know, she knows that she didn't play a perfect game, and I think Khat is definitely someone that, like, if they were to bring her back for like a second chances, I think she'd do a lot better.
I think so too.
Yeah.
She could possibly win.
She has a lot of potential for sure. And it sucks because like when she came in, I'm like, oh, Khat's going to do so well. She's going to get so far. And then she kind of flopped.
I know.
So yeah, very much robbed for sure. I do hope Khat plays again because I think she has a lot of potential in her. But yeah, really good stuff here. Getting to see all the people that were blocked, especially with the Savannah and Terilisha of it all, really nice and spicy. But we then see that Michelle announces that all of the finalists have arrived and introduces them one by one. And as expected, everyone is most shocked by Trevor being a catfish. And we get this weird moment where Savannah's like, I knew it about fucking Jack and Lisa. And I'm like, you've been out of the house for like forever. How the fuck did you know? Like, it was so weird what happened. But basically, Michelle congratulates all of them on playing an amazing game, even though I don't think some of them play an amazing game. But she then asked Chloe how she feels about being the only woman who played as herself to still be in the game. And she says that it feels empowering and that even though drama was coming to her, she chose to stay out of it. And what's gotten her the final, and she's very proud of herself. And I mean, yeah, that's basically been, I think, the biggest success of Chloe's game is that she very much was able to stay chill throughout the whole thing. There was never a point where, there were definitely points where she was a little sketched out, but she never let that get to her. She remained just very easygoing. She remained very easy to talk to. She played a top tier social game, I think. So like, this is definitely, I think definitely she deserves to be at the end.
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely.
I totally agree.
100%.
Yeah, for sure. But she asked Deleesa how hard it was to catfish, and she says that while it was a struggle to hide how she really talks, she does think she overall did a good job. And Chloe is asked if it helped or hurt her that she was into Trevor, and Michelle jokingly says that she should feel bad, and Chloe says it's entirely her fault because she knew there was always a possibility that he could be fake, but every time she thought he was real, she was hurting herself because she wanted to believe that he was. And Michelle asks if she still feels Trevor was her boyfriend and Mitchell was her brother, and Mitchell says that he's very much on board with it. Chloe can do better than Mitchell. That's all I'm going to say. Chloe can do better than Mitchell after what we But basically, Deleesa says that she wasn't playing to initiate the flirting, but Chloe did it first, and she knew she wasn't going to turn her down, and she knew she had to keep going along with it. And while she does feel it got too far, she couldn't stop at that point. And again, I love the bond that these two have. I love that Chloe praises Deleesa on her game. It's just really great to see. I feel like, a lot of people weren't sure how Chloe was going to react, but I like that she's mostly positive about it. She's basically blaming herself for even thinking that Trevor was real. So it's really great seeing how close those two have gotten, especially postseason.
Yeah. Michelle then asks about the Joker, and Courtney stands up and reveals to everyone it was him, and Khat is not shocked it was him.
Yeah, I mean, it was he really did not do a good job. It was pretty obvious.
Yeah, it was so obvious it was him.
Yeah, and I know that he was trying to like pretend to be Emily, but it really did not work.
Oh my god. That was funny.
Emily flop.
Yeah, no, definite flop. Definite flop.
Makeup queen.
They should get the real Emily next season and like have her play as Jack. That'd be funny.
Oh, that would be so fun. Honestly, they should get the real Emily, the real River.
Yep.
The real John.
There is no real John.
Well, because of his picture, if he is a real person.
I mean, there's a picture. Like they took a picture of a real person.
It's got to be a real person.
Yeah.
It's probably it's probably just some actor or some shit.
Yeah, it's probably like a stock. Like
did they go to thispersondoesnotexist.com?
Yeah.
Courtney is then asked about him and River, and he says one day they seemed to like each other immediately, and that he felt like an old friend from high school, which of course Lee graduated a long time ago.
Yeah, and I mean, this bond that Courtney is saying that they had, it kind of made me think about a comment that when Andrew Hayes was on the show a little bit ago, like he talked about when he was on our podcast, he said that like we haven't really gotten to see a lot of the bonding this season. It's been a lot more strategic, and this was kind of one of those things where I'm like, I would have liked to see Courtney and River do more than just, strategic planning, because we really didn't get to see those conversations between those two. So like I didn't really feel much here towards the Courtney and River of it all. And not just because I don't don't really care for Courtney at this point, but it's also because we really did not get to see that. And that is something that I really thought about during this conversation. I think they did a good job with Trevor and Chloe, but I don't think they did a great job when it comes to Courtney and River.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michelle asks how Lee didn't know anyone else was a catfish, even though he was one, and Lee says he has no catfish senses at all.
Mm-hmm.
And Michelle says technically no one did, since they all survived and the real people got blocked.
Which, again, just such a funny irony this season that, like, they were so gung-ho about those catfishes when really I think they should have tried to work together. That's what they really should have tried to do.
They should have.
Obviously, you can't tell who is a catfish, but, like, if you get the suspicion that someone's a catfish, I'm a catfish, I would honestly use that as a reason to work with them, because we're both catfishes. We can get to the end, and I think the season really proved that, like, it really doesn't matter if you're a catfish or not. Like,
no, not at all.
It really doesn't. I feel like I would just like think everybody's real.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
Same.
What?
Real until proven fake.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this cast was very game body for sure, and they were very gung-ho about the catfish, but I think this season, people are going to watch it back who play, like, next season and realize, like, this doesn't really matter. So I hope they're not as, like, again, focused on, fixated on finding a catfish, because it really did not matter at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. She asks all of the catfishes how they were able to cover it up all season, and Lee says he came in thinking he'd be good at it since he already has experience as an author and didn't realize he created himself at 24.
Yeah.
And Michelle brings up John and says they're crazy for thinking it was real.
I still don't know how they did.
Yeah. And she asks Lisa and Jack if it's easier if you do it with someone else. And Lisa says for her it was. And Jack says he felt generally it was harder, but they had a pretty good combination overall.
I mean, Lisa says it was good for them because she didn't really do much. Jack was doing most of the work. So, again, Lisa just not good at the game. Not good at the game.
Yeah, she's a nice person. She's just not a very good player.
Yeah, absolute flop. I think maybe if she came in as herself, it could have worked, but just as she was, disaster. I
wonder how well her and Jack would have done as themselves.
I think she would have done well. I don't know about Jack.
Yeah, I feel like Jack could have been like second boot or something.
Yeah.
I could see that. I could have seen him being first boot.
Especially if he was going to play the way he said he was going to, which he really didn't. He wanted to play like that villainous game and like kind of play in the middle. I think people would have really gotten sketched out. So like, I don't think he would have made it that far. Yeah. I mean, look at Mitchell. He only lasted like 3 rounds. So I don't think it would have worked for Jack either. But then we get the moment where Michelle then shows everyone a video of the real Lance Bass, and he congratulates Lisa getting this far, jokes about him being the real one and her ditching him for John. And this was really great to see, but I think it also underscored just how much Lisa really fumbled as Lance Bass, because none of what he said and did aligned with who we saw on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, not great at all. But it's then time. After a few interviews, it's time to finally reveal the official last ranking. And honestly, I really did not know the way this was going to go in terms of the ranking. But I have to say, for me at least, best case scenario all around when it came to
I agree.
Every single placement I feel like was perfect here, because in 5th place is John, which is good because they should not have been there.
That's not surprising at all.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard people say this, and I agree. I really think this should have been given to like Terilisha and Savannah, because it would have been a lot more entertaining to see.
It would have been. I mean, at the beginning, I thought they were going to win.
Yeah, and then all the shit happened.
I just thought that like after one of them left, the other one would have gone a lot further. I definitely wasn't expecting them to go back to back like that.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy the way that happened. But yeah, I mean, John was a flop, I think. I don't think anything really came of this whatsoever. There was no strategic game talk at all. It really was just a twist that they clearly did to get these two to the end. That's all they did. I mean, there was nothing that they played the best that they could, but it was only like 1-2 rounds. So like, is it even really that impressive? I don't think so. So yeah, definitely the right person left in 5th place there. In 4th place is Lee, which I wasn't sure if it was going to be Courtney or Lee in 4th place.
I'm not surprised. It was Lee just because of how he did his rankings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a feeling
he played with his heart too much, and it overall screwed him in the end. And
that was his biggest flaw, that he was too focused on his emotions.
Yeah, I definitely had a feeling he would be 4th.
Yeah. But good game to him for sure. Like, I think he definitely played really well in terms of catfishing. Like, nobody really seemed to be onto him except for Deleesa. So I think he played a really good game, and I think he should be proud of himself overall. But 3rd place, this gave me joy because Courtney is in 3rd place, and just his face when he gets that 3rd place, and he's just he's so like, he's not even disappointed. He's like annoyed. He's like, how dare you? And it's like,
I mean, and now we have the correct final 2, which I'm very happy about.
Yeah. The thing with Courtney,
best final 2.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Courtney, like I said before, is that he didn't have any emotions at all. He was a complete game bot after he became the Joker. Every single move, he felt like he had to be influenced in. He felt like he had to be behind everything. And you really don't. I mean, I think with the circle, like, you don't have to play this like amazing strategic game. Like, you can really just have those connections, and those can get you far, and you'll do a lot better. I think what ultimately happened to Courtney is that he just was too game body, and he was so focused on that win where I feel like he just needed to slow down, and he never really did that.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, just again, I was impressed by Courtney at first, but ultimately the way things turned out, I don't think he deserved this win, and I was happy that he
after the cap thing, it went downhill for him.
Definitely. He definitely screwed himself here. But we get down to the final 2, which comes down to Chloe and Deleesa, of course, Trevor, and definitely the correct final 2 here. This is absolutely what I wanted to see at the end. Yeah. And in 1st place and winning the 100K, we see Deleesa has in fact won the circle, and honestly, thank God, because, and I will say, I mean, the way things were turning out. Also, hello, Marcelo.
Hey! Oh
my God, Marcelo!
Yes.
My partner in crime.
Yeah, your podcast is coming soon. No, but we would love to have you on, Marcelo. I guess it just didn't work out. But shout out to Marcelo for sure. Maybe we'll see him on the show one day. You know, maybe he'll play as Jenn.
Triple message.
Yes.
Marcelo for next season. Period.
Yeah. But no, going back to Deleesa, I really do think they did a good job with making it so, you know, Deleesa had the best possible edit for this finale. She was very involved in a lot of things, whether it came down to her relationship with Chloe, which really took her far, her recognizing, you know, that Courtney and River were so close in the game and trying to split them up. And really, even though it didn't work out, she at least made an effort to do that. And her also just getting along with everyone. Like, nobody was ever coming specifically for Trevor. Nobody was ever like, oh, we need to get Trevor out soon. She always found a way to consistently keep herself safe, and I think this is just one of the most deserving wins I've seen in a reality show in a while. I love the way she played, and I think this is definitely the best possible win.
She definitely deserved it. Yeah, just really great the way things worked out. But she talks about how this is this life-changing win for her that will hopefully be able to get them to finally pay the house for her and Trevor's daughter. And I said this as well. I think she definitely had the best pitch. Like, she had the most incentive to win that money as well. So I think that really ended up working out for her too. And I think also because of the fact that she had the most story, which this is something else that I know when Andrew was on, he brought this up, how because she was the one that had the biggest story,
we should have gotten the sense that she's probably going to win here because she really was the only player that had that that we had that emotional connection to. Like Chloe, we enjoyed because she's fun, she's bubbly. You enjoy watching her excited.
Yeah. We learned about Deleesa's like family life and things like that, which really showcased why she deserved to win.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And now, Deleesa, Queen, is Prezos again.
Yes.
Yes, I'm so happy for her.
So that just makes it that much better that she won, and now she's gonna, have even more money to help support the family.
Yeah, and when she FaceTimed the real Trevor and just his reaction.
Oh my god, I got chills. I literally got chills.
It was so good.
Yeah, it was literally the best possible way to wrap things up. And I really, like I said, I really don't think they could have had a better winner. I would have, if Chloe won, I would have been happy. I think she played a really strong game for sure, but I don't think anyone played quite as well as Deleesa because again, she was really the only catfish that wasn't lying about anything aside from her gender. That was it. That was the only thing she was lying about. And obviously her connection with Chloe, but even that we see is genuine because these two are like best friends after the season. So yeah, I mean, really just the perfect way to wrap things up, I would say.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's basically everything that went down on this finale. Not really as much to talk about, obviously, because it was the finale. But I would say a really good finale. I think that they did a really good job of covering pretty much everything. There was never, what I also liked is that there wasn't a blocked player they didn't at least ask one question to. I talk about this in Big Brother sometimes where we'll have those really rushed finales and there's 5 of the pre-jurors that we don't even get to speak to. We only focus on one of them. So I was happy to see that everyone got at least one moment, whether it was the Terilisha and Savannah, them just duking it out, whether it was Khat sipping tea and admitting that she didn't play the best possible game, whether it was Mitchell and Chloe flirting, whether it was Ekar, that's his name, right? Yeah, Ekar, him recognizing that, he played a very just go with the flow game. Everyone got at least one moment, and that's something that I really did appreciate overall. Anything else we want to say about the finale? Because then we'll talk about the season overall.
Yeah.
No? Okay. I like I said, I think this was a really successful finale. In terms of the season, I do think this was a really strong second season. But the one thing I will definitely say, I think there was a lot of great gameplay going on. I think there were definitely a lot of likable personalities. But the one thing I will say is, again, the thing that Andrew brought up in the last episode, where he basically brought up the fact that a lot of these players, we didn't really know them personally. We didn't get a lot of time to get to know them. And I've heard in both season 1 of US and also the UK seasons, we get a lot more time for that. And I feel like here it really was just Trevor. That was the only person that we really had that emotional connection to. And I think moving forward, what they need to be doing is devote equal amount of time to strategy and also to the personal stuff, because we want to like these people. We don't want to get out of a season and someone wins and we feel like we didn't even really know them, which is why it was satisfying that Trevor ended up winning, because that was the person we knew the most about. And so I think moving forward, that is something they really do need to focus on. How do we balance the strategy, but also the more personal side of the players? I think that's something that definitely they need to be doing when it comes to season 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it sucks, of course, the UK version is unfortunately canceled for now. I hope Netflix does pick it up.
I hope so, because I want to go back and watch all of them.
Yeah, me too. And it's right when I'm starting to watch it, they decide, we're just going to cancel it. Why not? I hope, I hope the US version continues to go. I think they do have something really great here, but I think in terms of the UK one, I think that is probably eventually going to be picked up by Netflix because they have the France one. And I think the one they have in Brazil, I think. Yeah, so I think they probably are going to pick that up eventually. And then the only other thing I will say, and, I've brought this up before, just stop putting so much fucking emphasis on the games and the themes. I don't care. I don't care about the themes. I don't care about these games. They're inconsequential. They really don't play much of a role at all. If you're going to focus on them, have them play more of a role. Maybe someone wins, then they can't, then they're ineligible to be, ranked or something like that. I think that would be interesting. And then, if you, or just don't have as many games because they're not fun to watch. They're boring. They take up too much time. I didn't give a fuck about the presidential thing in like episode 11 or whatever.
That episode was just very filler.
Yeah, very much so. I just did not care. So I think, again, the stuff you want to focus on the strategy and focus on the personal. We don't need all this game shit. It doesn't mean anything. But other than that, I think it was a really successful season, and definitely went too quick. I do think it went very quick, and I think I would have much rather had 2 episodes a week, I think, than like 4 episodes a week. Right. We'd have more stuff to talk about if there were 2 episodes a week, I feel like, whereas because there's 4 episodes a week, it's like, oh, what's going to happen to this player? We already know what happens to this player because they get out the next week. So... Yeah, I think if they did 2 episodes a week, I would much rather prefer that format. But again, other than that, I think for this being my first season of The Circle, this was definitely a very entertaining one. I very much enjoyed getting to cover it, and I hope it continues to be successful because I really do like the concept of the show. I think it's really different from a lot of other reality shows, and I think this season is going to be a real template for a lot of people moving forward, where focus on the way Chloe played the game, focus on the way Trevor played the game. Don't really focus on the way like Courtney played the game, because that's not really the way to play The Circle. Maybe other games, yes, but that's not the way to play The Circle. You got to put some emotion into it. And I think that's something that, I think that's something that's a major component into winning The Circle.
Yeah.
But yeah, before we wrap things up here, is there anything else you guys want to say about this season or anything like that?
It was really just a fun season. I enjoyed watching
it.
I love this season so much.
Yeah, Henry, I know this was your first season too. So like, what did you think of getting to experience this for the first time?
Yeah, it's a really cool concept, and I can't wait for the future of it.
Yeah, and you got addicted really quickly. Like I saw you on Twitter. Like, it's a very addicting show in that way. But I mean,
I only started watching in season 1 of the US version, but like I became addicted pretty quick.
Yeah, definitely. Very, very fun stuff. But other than that, I think that's really everything we had to cover in terms of The Circle. Before we do give our guests their chance to do, outros and things like that, the one thing I do want to talk about is what are we doing moving forward with this show? Because obviously Big Brother Canada's done, The Circle's done. What's happening moving forward? Mainly off-season content. Already talked about how Ali and I are going to do our, we're going to look back at our cast assessment of Big Brother Canada and see like where we went wrong with certain people.
That'll be fun.
That'll be so funny.
But I think really what we're aiming to do, and when we initially started this podcast, I told her that the reason it's called A Conversation with Kely is because we basically have free reign to talk about anything. Yeah. So until Big Brother starts and things like that, it's going to be...
We also might do when the season's done, we might do High School Musical series season 2.
Yes. Yeah, we are definitely going to...
If anyone wants to be a guest on our... on that.
I have to watch the most recent.
Yeah, we're definitely probably going to do that. But it's basically going to be just like, no cats. No cats. No. Not happening. But no, what we are going to do is once a week, we're going to try to have something out regarding this podcast, whether it's just us just kind of shooting the shit, talking about whatever, whether it's us doing something relevant to other things we've talked about. We're going to try to have something out at least once a week. I think I already kind of figured out what I think our first one is going to be about. Of course, I'll talk to you after this, but yeah, that's what we're going to be doing moving forward. If people were wondering what is the future of this podcast, essentially that's what it's going to be. Yeah, we will probably do something around that eventually. But yeah, lots of fun for sure. Very much enjoyed getting to cover the circle and things like that. And yeah, looking forward to all that fun off-season stuff. But before we do wrap things up here, I'm going to give both of you guys a chance to plug your socials, talk about where we can find you, all that kind of stuff. Starting off with a future podcast host with Marcelo, of course, Jenn.
Iconic. Follow me. My Twitter's right there.
Yes. Always doing the work for me. I love it.
Yes. I know. Just trying to make your life easy.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know.
Yes. And Henry, who just woke up from his nap.
Yes. You can follow. That's my Twitter, my Instagram. You can follow me if you want. But don't follow me in real life for the last time. I said this twice before on Tony's channel, but
Oh my God.
the people realize I don't fucking know. All right.
You'll probably end up saying it again when you're on the movie later this week. But other than that, guys, that's it for our recap of the circle. Again, always enjoyed getting to do this. Comment down below. Let us know what you guys thought of the season. Love to your thoughts on it. Ali and I will probably be back sometime this week for like our first like off-season thing. So looking forward to doing that. We will see you guys in our next video, and we will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.
Bye.